everybody feeling fine. There ain't no business like show business, baby. Show time. It is show time. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have a good time. Each and every one.
You know, your work on Saturday Night Live is always so outstanding because there's so many different sets that have to be rotated throughout the course of the show.
Yes, but we don't get our scripts until Wednesday night. So it's really Wednesday to Saturday is a sprint to try and do the show. Well, it's not even try and do the show. We do it every week, you know, and we've been doing it a long time that way.
I've wondered about that. Do you have a giant prop house that you store things in?
No.
Or?
We have a storehouse of pieces of scenery, so that we don't have to build a new door and a new wing every week. But every set is drawn new every single week and built that way. It's because we never know what it's going to be. So, you know, with few exceptions, it's pretty much from scratch, week after week.
How many carpenters do you have working with you?
Oh, I could even tell. I mean, I have about 16 scenic artists and easily 30 carpenters and a large crew, and there's four of us are the designers of the show. We all design everything all together, you know.
You must have a very well-oiled machine, and making this, keeping this from being
I don't think you could ever reproduce it again. It is a well-oiled machine. In fact, we have, I think, 4 generations of people now working on the show in our studio crew and carpentry and all those departments. There's grandchildren that are working there whose grandfather started on that show. It's pretty amazing.
How long have you been with Saturday Night Live?
26 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt tired? Have you ever felt uninspired?
Yes. Yes. But we do it anyway.
Wow.
But you know what? The beauty of it is that because every week is a different week, and every Saturday is opening night, that's what keeps it fresh for everybody.
Here's a question for you. You must know, although you only get the scripts of the skits that'll be done live 2 or 3 days before, you must know a little bit ahead of time of who the guest star is.
Yeah, we know who the guests are. I mean, particularly the writers do, but the writers don't start on until Monday.
So
They meet, the guest host comes on Monday, shows up on Monday. That's when they all meet and talk about what they're going to do. Nothing's ever done really before that.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
If you in the schedule, you might know someone's coming. Maybe the people are already having ideas, but nobody really does anything until the week of the show.
Right, because I guess it would be a waste of time if you start working on something it's not going to be used.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's nice to speak with you. It's mind-boggling what you do.
Nice to talk to you.
Something that really struck me about The Help was how well the costume design matched the interiors and the settings that you worked on. Can you talk a little bit about working with other department heads to really capture that period look?
Well, you know, it's interesting because Sharon Davis, who was the costume designer, and I have talked on this subject before, and interestingly, it's not as if we sat down and came up with a color scheme. I mean, I did the work that I was doing in terms of what I thought would be happening with the characters, and I presented our ideas to her, and then she just ran with it, and we just felt what each other were doing. I mean, I would go down there, and I think that in a way that it just sort of allows the clothing and the settings to just live within a real world. I mean, we were aware of what each other were doing, but it wasn't so tightly controlled that it was out of control. And so I think that the film sort of lived in that sort of success.
Another thing that really struck me about the design of the movie was a lot of bright and light colors that were integrated into the film, and it's interesting to think of the subject matter, which is not exactly light and happy. Can you talk a little about the choice of the color scheme that you worked with?
Well, you know, as we were doing it, it grew out of what was real. I mean, we were in the South, and these were the colors that we were finding in the research. much, and we didn't want to sort of, impede what was a very lively, real world of the early 60s by any kind of oppressive color scheme. I think that was going to happen in the emotion and the action of what was happening, and certainly where it did get darker, contrasted with what was essentially, a glossy world that the help worked within.
Well, thank you.